This is TWiT.
We were all laughing before the show about the Morse code. What is it? It's the Morse code for red-handed.
Yep.
Explain, Renee.
All right, so Google has been providing lyrics for a while now. Google does this thing that they believe is helpful and that a lot of content providers believe is predatory, where they take the best answer and they provide it for you right on the Google page so you don't have to click through. And it's true when you're searching, if it just pops up there, it's great. But for publishers, it's better if you actually click through and, go to the publisher's website. And Google was doing this for lyrics, and the company Genius, which has painstakingly put together lyrics from all these songs, started thinking, I wonder where Google is getting those from, but they couldn't prove anything. So what they did was pure genius. They took the ampersands or the apostrophes, and they made straight ones and curved ones throughout every song. And when you put them together, they spelled out the Morse code for red-handed. And then lo and behold, Google started reflecting these in their search results, thereby letting Genius say they caught them red-handed.
Oh, my God. So map makers have done this for centuries, put fake streets or fake landmarks in their maps because apparently there's a brisk business in stealing map data. This is incredible. So the patterns, I don't understand, though. I mean, these apostrophes go with the text. How does that? I mean, wouldn't you have to put an apostrophe there and there and there and there?
Yeah, but it's straight versus curved. And when you read out the straight versus curved one, it's dashes and dots.
Smart quotes versus curly quotes.
Oh, my God, that's brilliant. Holy cow. And here's an animation that will make it all clear. Straight apostrophe, curly. This is PC Magazine, but this is Genius's video. Yeah. So right here in this lyric, the red ones are smart apostrophes.
Yeah.
They really should have done a deep fake video of Peter Falk as Columbo in the last act.
Look at this. So they busted him.
I don't know how you're going to explain
red-handed. Now notice at the bottom of the Google listing it says lyrics copyright. Oh man, that is wicked genius.
Yeah, that's
what does
pretty
Google
genius,
say?
Google, the last I heard, Google was saying it's the fault of a Canadian company that they licensed them from, and the Canadian company
Canada
was stealing them from. But you figure if there's any company that can sort of do due diligence and deduplicate the results of lyrics, they know if we put up duplicative content on 2 websites, there's no way they're not going to know that every single lyric in here matches Genius.
The company
but it does.
that did this, Lyric Find, disputes the allegations. Lyric Find says, we have a whole content team devoted to compiling song lyrics from numerous sources, which can include getting them directly from the artist and songwriter, as well as other websites. Other websites. Some time ago, Ben Gross from Genius noted, this is a quote from Lyric Find. Some time ago, Ben Gross from Genius notified Lyric Find they believed they were seeing Genius lyrics in Lyric Find's database. As a courtesy to Genius, our content team was instructed not to consult Genius as a source. They recently raised the issue again, provided a few examples. All of those examples were also available. Here's the problem. On other lyric sites and services, raising the possibility our team unknowingly sourced Genius lyrics from the location. This is the problem. Genius is so good that other sites use Scrape Genius. Google scrapes the other sites red-handed.
Information
scrapers all the way down.
Scrapers all the way down. This actually is a big deal for Google because, of course, they're accused of this kind of thing, and they're in big trouble in Europe with it. Yeah. And I think this is something Google really doesn't. This is bad timing.
Yeah, it's easy to dismiss this as saying it's like.
Go ahead, Renee.
Sorry. I was going to say it's easy to dismiss this as saying it's just, it's an accident, but Google has a history of doing things like scanning a bunch of books, which makes the Authors Guild really unhappy. And that ultimately, I believe it was decided that Google has the right to scan all these books for indexing and accessibility, but how do you separate that from just making them available via search? And it's this huge complex tension between indexing all the world's information and not necessarily having the rights to all the information you're indexing. I don't know how you solve it, but it feels like Google's a big enough, rich enough company that it could license a lot of the stuff and thereby neatly avoid having to scrape most of it.
Well, Google says we license lyric contents from music publishers, the rightful owner of lyrics, and from Lyric Find. So
I think part of the problem is that it's like you were talking about before, where you buy and license these catalogs of data of information. But this catalog, it wasn't just some scholar working laboriously for 2 years to produce it all on his or her own. This is like a big stew, a big soup of stuff that's had things dumped into it, and it must be. If I'm going to give Google the benefit of the doubt, which I do just for the sake of argument, it's possible that they thought that, okay, well, here we're licensing this database. This should be perfectly fine, not knowing that whoever built this database incorporated stuff from other sources. But like Renee said, although that's a nice devil's argument to make, they have this isn't some fly-by-night organization. They have the resources to just let's compile a list of the 10 biggest sources of lyrics on the internet, and let's just compare the data that we've quote licensed unquote against that data. So you don't above a certain size, you just don't get that excuse anymore. So I hope they write a big check to Genius, because Genius it's genius. It's one of those resources that has been necessary on the internet for ages, and they do it so well. To
be fair, I don't know if they still do it. For years, Genius was crowdsourced lyrics.
Yeah.
So it's not like honestly, Genius took them from us.
Well, no, that's crowdsourcing. That's me deciding that I've had it with I would happily crowdsource every single map that says that, oh, here you are this picture was taken in the middle of Boston Commons. And I will happily donate my time to fix every one of those. Say there is no place in Boston called Boston Commons. Right. There is a place called Boston Common that's been around since the 1600s. That maybe over the past 400 years you could get the name right. So this is it's great when this crowdsourced data becomes literally public data, when the public has decided, just like Wikipedia, there is no one team of person that can amass all this data, but there is probably one person who knows so much about the character Dazzler from Marvel Comics that they can write an entire piece and keep it up to date. And they're willing to do that so that anytime anybody wants to know what the deal is with Dazzler, isn't just this really stupid 60s, 70s disco character. Okay, well, first of all, disco is just one facet of Allison's personality and her talent,
So Genius themselves on their About page says the Genius community has grown into an influential force of over 2 million contributors, editors, and musicians who sign up to discuss and deconstruct their favorite songs. So admittedly, admittedly, Genius collated it. But this is, I think, this kind of points to a larger issue: the problem with intellectual property rights in the digital age. It becomes
also just consent. Like, maybe I'm happy to be on Genius, but I don't like Google, or I don't like Facebook, or I don't like Apple. And I just want them where I said I want to put them.
Yeah.
It is a really good topic. And I'm glad that Renee brought up the library project of scanning books, where I feel as though this is Google being a really, really good observer of what it can and can't do. At the time, there wasn't any rules against it because it was such an esoteric, impossible to do at any time before they started doing it. And it was never a question of we're going to be taking all this copyrighted material and just simply publishing it. We just want to make it findable so that if you wrote a book in 1988 that's still in print, that maybe someone will see that, oh, the information I'm looking for is in this book. I use it all the time in my little research project. I have shelves full of books I've bought simply because Google Book Search told me that here is one paragraph that at least shows you the context of where we found this in, to say nothing of all of the stuff that's in the public domain that would be just dead and lost if not for the fact that Google goes through every single library that they strike a deal with, and if the copyright has expired, it suddenly becomes available to everybody. So I think that they are definitely doing something for the greater good there. However, it is something where they could not have done it had they gone hat in hand and asked, please, sir, we promise we're not going to do anything fishy with this. We're just going to teach the little children, the little nippers. It's sometimes you do. I don't like Facebook's version of move fast, break things, but sometimes when something is not specifically illegal, but it seems like a good thing, you kind of got to go ahead and let the courts sort it out later. Although this is not the Genius thing. That's their content, and someone was really naughty.
Remember how much trouble Google got in with the publishers who did not like that book scanning thing. They lost in court, but the Google
but they
that was
they won-ish. Anyway, that's another topic. Yeah. The thing that benefits people, again, getting access to public domain stuff that was just a book in a library, plus the ability to search stuff that's in copyright.
But again,
I think that's
I would say this
positive.
is really an issue with intellectual property rights in a digital age. It really
absolutely
becomes very, very complicated and difficult. And I don't know if the laws and the courts have kept up. This is another case.
What Google should do is just license from Genius. Just fix that mistake. Just fire Lyric Find and hire Genius.
Write a check to Genius. Although it may not be possible. I wonder if Genius deals with its contributors, 2 million contributors, as Andy pointed out. Maybe that precludes that. Maybe they say, we promise we'll never let Google have this. I don't know. But you're right. A check would help. And God knows Google.
Even just a direct link to the site where it was originally sourced makes, solves that problem because, the website just wants people to visit them. They don't want to tell Google stop using our lyrics. They just want Google to tell people where they got the lyrics. And that was done wrong. So, the original company, Lyric Find, they're the ones who seems to have not properly, identified where they were getting their sources.
I think that
there's also a small problem with sorry.
No. It's okay, Renee.
Oh, sorry. With the truncation versus in the original, and Lori knows this as well as I do, but Google would start putting those snippets on top of web search results. And if they put a snippet that was truncated, man, was that a traffic bonanza because everybody would click through to get the rest of that article, the rest of those instructions, the rest of whatever you were writing about. But then they started doing full excerpts that had no truncation, and then nobody clicked through, and that same article went from tons and tons of views to none. And it's nice that they're making it more convenient, but that if that's your income or your livelihood, it just destroys it at the same time. And it'd be nice if Google sort of recognized that, yes, we can make it all apparent, but if people want more, they should really click through to support the site.
I think that's probably why there isn't a deal with Rap Genius and that's really Rap Genius's problems is Google's if I do a search for a Taylor Swift lyric, I get the whole lyric from Google. I don't have to go anywhere else. That should
give you the first third and then have you click through.
And Google does that, of course, with snippets, and that's where they're in trouble in Europe with the use of snippets in their search results. Publishers now saying Google should pay us for snippets. But if Google said, well, instead of paying, how about we don't list you at all? Those publishers would lose a significant amount of traffic. So it's very challenging. I'm looking here at no point. And maybe this is Taylor Swift lyric. Now maybe they did get this from Lyric Find, and maybe they did get it from. Actually, what was the one that the lyrics that they showed in their demo video? Do you remember? Because that would be that would be the one to look at and see if Google does give a link back. On the Taylor Swift, they actually give credit to the music publisher as if they got it from the music publisher.
It's Not Today by Alessia Cara.
Okay. Let's see. Not Today lyrics. I don't know if that's it. Let's see. Cara. Yeah, here it is by Alessia Cara. And let me expand it because here's the full link. By the way, the next link is the Genius page. But at no point here does it say Genius. And I'm just seeing if it still has the smart quotes. No, they're gone. But that's an easy grep. I'm sure. Yeah. That's the first thing Google did is say all smart quotes, replace them with standard. But it's interesting. See if you're right. If they said courtesy Rap Genius, would that drive traffic to Genius? I don't know.
Or if they just gave a partial,
just do the first verse. Yeah. And then say second verse, same as the first.
It's also kind of interesting it's a debate the problem between information and content, where if I tell you the box score of the Red Sox game last night, that's just information. Whereas if I write up a synopsis, even just not terribly creative, just a synopsis of what went on, that is something that I originally created. So I think a lot of what Google does is there information or is this content? If this is a statistic about the height of a mountain, we can certainly pull out that one thing because they're looking for that answer. But to Renee's point, that is sometimes what people want is I want to find out how do I reset my my Apple AirPods so that I can pair it with a new device. And it would be much, given that iMore puts so much time and effort to coming up with a really good detailed rundown on how to do this with videos, with explanations. Yes, you can summarize it as step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But pulling that out of an iMore article has got to make iMore feel minused and stolen from.
So in a side story, Pandora's being sued. They use Lyric Find for lyrics when you play Pandora music. The music publishing company for Tom Petty, Rage Against the Machine, and Weezer is suing Pandora, saying they don't have a license to show the lyrics. They just settled a big lawsuit against Spotify for the same thing. Mm. Now, this is actually an Apple story because Apple has announced, they announced at WWDC that they would start showing lyrics, right, in iTunes when you play a song back.
Yeah, I wonder who they are licensing from, how they're doing that. Hopefully it's not Lyric Find, because that's going to be a real problem.
Given Apple's relationships with the labels.
Always had lyrics. It's just these are in time with the music now is the big breakthrough. So you can get your karaoke. Lori and I can get our karaoke on.
Yes.
So that's an interesting question. Somebody in the chat room saying they think that Apple does get their lyrics from Genius.
Yeah. I think, in reality, what we're talking about is the people that own the lyrics are either the record producers or the songwriters originally.
Not Genius.
Not Genius, not Lyric Find.
Yeah.
So, even
how does Alicia Cara feel about this, right?
Yeah. And it's, once it's out in the open, you can't stop people from writing down the lyrics. I mean, I literally used to do that as a kid. Would whip out a piece of paper and listen to my tapes and try to get the words and then, memorize the lyrics from it. So, you can't stop people from doing that. But at the same time, there is that weird sort of who does own, like, how do you own the right to share this information publicly? Do you have to get a license from a record producer or a songwriter, or since it's sort of open information that anybody could find themselves, is it okay to just put up these lyrics and let people sing along to it? When does it become that point where, like, for example, using a karaoke style way of presenting the lyrics, does that suddenly become something that people could monetize and profit from? In that case, then is that a point where the original song maker or the record company that owns the lyrics, should they then get some sort of financial backup for it? Or it does get a little weird when you start thinking about who originally owned those lyrics.
So Apple, when they announced the lyrics thing, last year, said it's from Genius.
Yeah.
Now, Amazon's Echo Show has done this since it was released. When you listen to a song on the Echo Show, it does karaoke style follow the bouncing ball lyrics. Boy, what a mess. What a tangled web we have woven here. I don't know. I'm looking to see if there's information about where Amazon gets its lyrics. I don't see it anywhere, but if you're not licensing it from the publisher, I think that's a problem. You should get it from the publisher.
Unless, remember, the problem of crowdsourced lyrics is that you get what the crowd thinks the lyrics are. Right. You don't get what the original creator thinks it is.
Stephen Colbert thinks that they are.
Yeah, exactly.
And all his listeners go.
So the creator might have a stake in saying, look, I know that I just basically mumbled nonsense, but they're all English words that I chose. And I want to make sure that the nonsense is transcribed correctly.
They call those Mondegreens. You know that probably.
My favorite Pepperidge Farm cookie. I wish they. I can't eat just 3 of them. It has to be the entire section of the entire bag.
If you look it up on Wikipedia, it comes from American writer Sylvia Wright, who coined the term in 1954, writing that as a girl she misheard the lyric "and laid him on the green" in a Scottish ballad as "and Lady Mondegreen." and there's quite a few of these, I'm sure.
Inagata Davida.
Yeah. In Gladly the Cross-Eyed Bear. Remember him? Or There's a Bathroom on the Right. Or my favorite from Jimi Hendrix, Excuse me while I kiss this guy. Those are all Mondegreens.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza. There's a lot of... I saw Elton John's live a couple of months ago, and there's a lot of lyrics. I don't know. Rocket Man.
I still don't know.
Early in the morning, late in the honey hole.
Yep.
I don't think
you really
I know.
just can't get through those. Nirvana's another one.
I only recently discovered that the title of that song from Chicago is 25 or 624.
24, yes.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Now I've got to look up Rocket Man. And I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no. And I think it's going to be a long until touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man. I think I knew that one. But there's some lines in there that I just.
It's burning till the something that are there and gone.
Yeah, Bernie Top, and this of course comes from Google. Look, Google now put data from Lyric Find.
Interesting.
So maybe they're starting to cop to the and then if this got smart apostrophes, it's not our fault. Check with Lyric Find. You know that there were a lot of grep scripts replacing smart quotes.
Oh yeah,
flying across the internet.
BB Edit got to work out that night.
Yeah, that's right.